Hi everyone. So against my better judgment, came outside to make a video. I like the sunlight. I like the natural light. I like the tree in front of my yard, or in my yard. So I wanted to share some thoughts that I've been sitting on and some things that have been accumulating in my being regarding beliefs, and how they create lifestyles, how they create the world around us, the systems, the games that we play, and understanding where belief leads us. We always say we believe, or you gotta see to believe it, and all of these things, all of these vague statements about belief and believing, and confusing it for faith and for trust. And there is a component in that, and that whatever you believe in is something that is defining your truth, defining your reality. Therefore, creating your lifestyle, creating your life, creating your path, creating your reality. And man, like, what do you believe? And who's been serving you the things that you believe in? Or are these belief systems that you've carried within you, that you are unlocking, that you're allowing yourself to remember? The more that we believe in certain systems, the more we place themselves kind of at the mercy of them. And so even considering the beliefs that we have in our own spirituality, do they perpetuate different hierarchies that leave us in a place of being in someone else's domain or under their dominion, or are lifting us up to be more sovereign, to be more free, to stand with those beautiful vehicles of light, that we have for so long asked and prayed to and conversed with in moments of need and of vulnerability. And or are we allowing ourselves the belief that we can sit with them and be with them and be at the table with them, creating and indulging and consuming this, experiencing this beautiful life? And are you kind of at the mercy of a belief that there has to be duality, there has to be good and bad, and therefore it's like, if you only believe that the things in which you categorize are good are those things that are motivating, you are then going to be at the mercy of all of the things that could be bad or could be defined as bad within your reality, within your belief system. And so it's like, whatever you believe, there is a restriction within that belief system that you are subjecting yourself to. So get really serious about what you believe and how it dictates the way you are living out your reality. That's really what we're getting down to. And if you can believe anything is possible, then by all means, explore that and almost just come to a point where you play your own devil's advocate, and you're playing out all these different scenarios and really testing and redefining and playing with those boundaries, those beliefs. I've talked about playing with your boundaries before, and it's things that always have to be reassessed, consistently reassessed. There is no final form here. It's like changeless is ever changing. The only thing that is changeless is change, throughout all time. So it's like, with that time being a constant, there is no time, there's just change. There's just evolution, there's just involvement, there's just action, there's intention. It's all of these things combined into one force that is completely structured based off of belief. And if we believe that we are unequal, that there is inequality, then it's because there is something we are not willing to uphold, or to bring up to the same level in terms of our beliefs. You know, there's something that within us that we are regarding as less than or unworthy or not up to par that we inevitably have to face. And so we are charged with, you know, and I've said this before to people and just to myself, and it's like, it's funny because there are some people out there who only want to sell you the first two steps, right? They want to get you when you're awakened, when you're all excited and jazzed up and you woke up from the dream and now you're like, oh, supercharged and you're seeing everything and having these experiences. You're in this dazed state of wonderment, you know, the state of vulnerability, but you don't have any tools, you know, you don't have as much awareness. There's so much, you know, it's like the tip of the iceberg. And so like there's this awakening, and then it's like, you know, then there's this period of observation, but you're still defining things. You're still categorizing things and separating stuff, you know? But then no one talks about the integration that takes place and how important that truly is. Being able to then observe something, see it as an other, and then to figure out it's the resources that are built within it, the resources within it that people are trying to separate you from, you know? Like that separation in itself is a commodity. In itself, it is something that keeps you enslaved and under someone else's dominion instead of you standing up and being strong within your own like domain, within your being sovereign, you know. Instead, you are someone who is willing to consume something out of that separation. You know, it's this escapism because you're looking at this other and it's like you're defining it, and then this tribalism takes place, you know, trying to find my tribe, you know, gotta find my tribe because there's always an other that I have to work against, that I have to defend myself against. And this is not about putting up defenses necessarily. It is about understanding something that is bigger than you and becoming as big as that and becoming part of it and understanding it inside and out, walking with it, you know. Getting like fired up and shaky as I'm talking, but for those of you who get it, you get it. And for those of you who aren't quite there yet, it takes time. Hopefully this plants some type of seed there, but you know, where are the other steps when you're sitting there with someone, or you're, you know, accessing their knowledge or the wisdom or understanding or whatever that they're sharing? What are they hiding from you? People are only gonna give you so much because they want something back from you. Now, if you could just turn the tables and pretend that maybe you know, turn the tables, you know, just empower yourself. And it's like, you know what? Are they giving me all of this? Are they giving me everything that I need? Most times, no, because they want something from you, you know? I can't really define that any further at the moment in new words, but it's like, give me those next steps. And I'm here and I want to be able to give you those next steps as I'm like exploring them. Because, you know, I sat there and I've looked at the other side, and I've looked at the other side of myself, and I was like, you know, I welcome you in. I welcome you in because I see what you have to teach me. I see the worth in everything that I once rejected and tried to run from, and now I can just be, and I can stand here solid, you know, and I can be, and I can understand what's coming up, and I can follow it, you know, without judgment, and then understand why, you know, just be part of the unfolding. And I'm constantly unfolding. It is like the beautiful 1,000-petal lotus at the top of your crown, simply unfolding and opening up and being vulnerable while still being absolutely mesmerizing. Anyway, so I pulled a card. We have the 10 of Worlds, reward. And so it's this concept. So, you know, every belief that we create, every belief system we create creates a world, creates a sphere of perception, a portal, so to speak. And so part of the reason why I've kind of tuned out of social media for a time, not that I'm saying it's bad or it's terrible, and I was talking to my friend about this a little bit earlier today, is like, there are certain perspectives out there that do not resonate with me where I'm at right now. And I do not want to be subject to them, in the sense that I don't want to create some type of setback. I don't want to create or pull myself into something that brings me back into a place of disempowerment, into a place of hierarchy and defining opposites. I'm looking for a place of unity that allows me to be separate at the same time, of individualized unity, whatever that means, and it's like we can be together as a community, but that doesn't mean we have to be together physically, whereas we can be all part of the same body and have, different attributes and have different, contributions and offerings and speak different languages and consume different things without judgment, and just understanding that it is a whole part of a whole unified process or system, very much like the way that our bodies work, and it's just, I hope that you all are following me in that, and just understanding, really getting serious and doing the difficult work about what you believe and what your belief systems are, where they originated from, who did you buy them from, what are you cultivating? Are you holding yourself prisoner to something that you believe, your beliefs can disempower you? I just saw a robin, it's beautiful. I'm also pulling out the 5 of Cups. And so it's like, it's all about the beliefs that we hold and how are we going to shift them. And in our shifting of them, what are we creating? What are we creating for ourselves? How are we transforming our world, both inner and outer? 8 of Crystal, synthesis. Yeah. Because we have all of these choices, we have all of these options, no single one being the correct or right one necessarily, but being able to explore and to play with all of them, the ability to put on different costumes, see how they fit, move about in them, understand what restrictions are there, what freedoms are there, and being able to truly synthesize based off of all of those different experiences that you've had to build a more holistic picture of truth and reality and all that is, of heaven on earth, of heaven in the physical and throughout all time space. What is that? And that is freedom, that is freedom. It is flow. And for us to be stuck and so rigid in these rigid structures and these rigid beliefs, thinking that that's all that there is, there's always a third option. And so that's why I reach out and I call you fellow observers. I charge you with being observational, of being objective, of stepping outside of these dualistic spaces, of stepping outside of all space and entering this void, this 0 point, this, spot, the speck, the stop, stepping out of that and being able to experience all of it without judgment, and to just be there, just to be here, just to be. And that 1 point, that 0 point, that void is ever expansive. There is no limit to it. And so how can your beliefs match that? How can your beliefs match that? How can then your lifestyle become that? And so I challenge you all. I've had, there's a hawk, beautiful. I had this dream in which I was approached by these characters who were actually God figures, but they were just people in plain clothes like me, asking me, holding up these symbols, asking me which side I was on. And I was like, you know what? I work independently. And that they gave me a warning, and they gave me like, well, you have to do the work or else, this will be your demise. And and then I stood there not knowing exactly what work I had signed myself up for, but I was like, I'll find it, and it found me. And then that's when I allowed my voice to get louder, to be in that dream space, to be louder than I had ever heard it before. It was booming, it rattled me, and it transformed the world around me.